Hi. It's hard to even begin this. I never thought I'd be one of those women telling a story like this. You think you know someone? You think you built a life together. But then, one swipe changes everything. My husband, Daniel, is, or was, everything to me. We've been together for 7 years, married for 5. He's the kind of man who always makes the waiter laugh, always holds doors open for strangers, and kisses my forehead every night before bed. I trusted him. Completely. So, when he told me he had to fly to Seattle for a 3-day business trip, I didn't blink. He travels all the time. Marketing conferences, product launches, client meetings. It's just part of the job. He kissed me goodbye at the airport, like always, luggage in hand, suit pressed, that same calm smile on his face. I told him to be safe. He told me he'd call when he landed. And he did. Everything seemed normal. But that night, I couldn't sleep. I was just scrolling through my phone, nothing out of the ordinary. Instagram, emails. Then I opened TikTok, and that's when it happened. I saw it. A friend of mine had posted a video. Just a silly clip of her and some friends out at a rooftop bar in downtown LA, not Seattle. I recognized the bar immediately because we used to go there before we got married. But my heart stopped not because of the bar. It stopped because I saw him. Daniel. Clear as day. Standing in the background. Laughing. Holding a drink. With his arm around another woman. At first, I told myself it couldn't be him. Maybe it was someone who just looked like him. But no. He was wearing that jacket. The one I bought him last Christmas. The one with the tiny rip on the left shoulder. It was him. No question. I froze. I must have replayed that 5-second video at least 20 times. Zooming in, rewinding, pausing. My chest felt tight, like I couldn't breathe. I remember sitting on the edge of the bed, shaking, trying to make sense of what I just saw. Was he lying about the trip? Who was that woman? Why was he in LA? And why did he call me from a Seattle number? I didn't sleep that night. The next morning I opened Tinder. I don't know why. Some weird instinct, maybe. I hadn't used that app in years, since before we met. But I re-downloaded it, and within minutes, there he was. My husband. Daniel. Smiling in his profile picture like nothing was wrong. Same photo he uses on LinkedIn. Bio. Marketing executive. Always up for adventure. I just stared at the screen. His profile was active. Recently active. He was swiping. While I was at home worrying about his flight delays, he was swiping. That's when the tears started. I didn't confront him right away. I couldn't. I needed time to breathe, to think, to stop shaking. I sat on the couch, staring at my phone, his Tinder profile still open, as if it might change on its own. As if it might disappear and tell me this was some kind of glitch. But it didn't. It just sat there. Solid, real, undeniable. I took a screenshot, then another. Then I went back to that video my friend posted, and I saved that too. Evidence, not because I wanted to use it, but because I needed to know I wasn't crazy. I didn't leave the house that day. I didn't eat. I just kept replaying every conversation we'd had in the last few weeks. The late nights, the canceled plans. That one evening, he said he was too tired to talk and went to bed early, locking his phone away. It all started to fit together like a puzzle I never realized I was holding. By the second day of his trip, or whatever it actually was, I was done sitting still. I opened Tinder again. His profile was still there. And worse, it had changed. A new photo. One I hadn't seen before. Him on a hiking trail, wearing sunglasses, smiling like he didn't have a wife waiting for him back home. And that's when I lost it. I don't even remember dialing, but suddenly the phone was ringing. His phone. He answered on the second ring. "Hey, babe," he said, so casual, so familiar. "Everything okay?" I couldn't even speak at first. My throat felt like it was closing. Then I said it. "I saw you." Silence. "I saw the video, Daniel. You were in LA, not Seattle, and you were with someone else." More silence. And then, the most unbelievable thing happened. He laughed. Not a full laugh, but one of those nervous chuckles people do when they're caught. "Emily," he said, "it's not what you think." I snapped. "Don't lie to me," I said. "I saw you with my own eyes. You were holding her. You weren't at a conference. You weren't even in the right city." He sighed. Deep. Heavy. Like he was the one who'd been hurt. "Look, I didn't plan for you to find out this way," he finally said. "But things haven't been great between us for a while. I didn't want to hurt you." Didn't want to hurt me? He was on Tinder while I was planning our anniversary. He was lying to my face and going on dates while texting me goodnight. I wanted to scream, but instead, I went quiet. Because the rage had already passed. What was left wasn't anger anymore. It was something worse. It was emptiness. After we hung up, I didn't cry. I didn't scream or throw anything. I just sat there. The silence in the house felt louder than anything I'd ever heard. I looked around at the life we had built, the framed pictures on the bookshelf, the jacket he always left on the back of the kitchen chair, the half-used coffee mug still in the sink. It all looked the same. But everything had changed. He came back the next evening, earlier than he said he would. He didn't call to say he was coming. Just walked through the door like it was any other day. I heard the keys in the lock and froze. He stepped inside like nothing had happened, like he hadn't just been caught cheating, like I hadn't seen the messages, the photos, the lies. "Hey," he said softly. "Can we talk?" I didn't say a word. I just stood in the kitchen, arms crossed, watching him. He looked different. Smaller somehow. Not physically, but like a man who finally realized he'd run out of excuses. He stepped closer, careful, like he was approaching a wounded animal. "I messed up," he began. "And I know that. I never meant to hurt you, Emily. It got complicated." Complicated. That's the word he chose. As if infidelity was a scheduling issue. As if everything we had, years of memories, of love, of effort, could be reduced to complicated. "I didn't mean for it to go that far," he added. "It was just something that started as a distraction. I felt stuck, bored. You've been distant lately, and..." I held up my hand. "Don't," I said, my voice colder than I expected. "Don't make this about me." His mouth opened like he wanted to argue, but no words came out. I think that was the moment he realized I wasn't going to fight, that I wasn't going to beg or break down or plead for an explanation, because I didn't want one. There's a strange kind of clarity that comes when the worst finally happens. You spend so much time fearing it, imagining it, wondering if it's just in your head. But once it's real, it's almost peaceful. I told him to leave. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just said "You need to go!" He stood there for a few seconds, maybe expecting me to change my mind. But I didn't. He packed a small bag and left that night. No fight, no scene, just the sound of the door clicking shut behind him. And when it did, I exhaled, not out of relief. Not yet. but because I had finally stopped holding my breath. The first morning without him felt strange. The bed was half empty, cold on his side. His toothbrush was still in the holder. His shoes were by the door. But the house was quiet, the kind of quiet that used to scare me. Now it felt necessary. I didn't text anyone that day. I didn't post online or tell my friends what had happened. Not because I was ashamed, but because I needed the silence. I needed space to think, to feel, to breathe without checking who was lying to me. I made myself coffee, sat on the back porch, listened to the birds, the distant hum of traffic, the life outside continuing like nothing had changed. And I realized something. This was the first time in a long time I had been alone without feeling lonely. It was like my body had been holding something in for years, tension I hadn't even noticed, and now it was slowly unraveling. I could feel it in my shoulders, my jaw, the way I exhaled and didn't even know I'd been holding my breath again. I went back inside and deleted the Tinder app, not just his profile, the whole app. It wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about matching with someone else to make myself feel wanted. I didn't want validation. I wanted peace. Later that day, I found the anniversary scrapbook I had started making a few weeks earlier. I picked it up, flipped through the first couple of pages, and then I threw it in the trash. Not out of bitterness, but because I realized I didn't want to build memories with someone who had been building lives behind my back. That night, I slept better than I had in months. No late-night texts to overanalyze. No wondering why he was still online at 1 a.m. No waiting for a call that never came. Just silence. And my own heartbeat. Over the next few days, I started telling people. My sister, my best friend. One by one, I let them in. Not to get sympathy, but because I knew I couldn't carry it alone anymore. And you know what? Every single one of them believed me. No one questioned my story. No one said, "Are you sure?" Or, "Maybe it's not what it looks like." They listened. They hugged me. They told me I was strong, even though I didn't feel it yet. But their words stayed with me, and slowly, I started to believe them. It's been a few months now, not years, but long enough to feel the shift. People say time heals everything. That's not true. Time doesn't fix betrayal. It doesn't erase memories or rewrite the truth, but it does help you see things more clearly. In the beginning, I kept asking myself the same questions. Why did he do it? Wasn't I enough? Was it me? Was I boring, predictable, too emotional, too available? But the longer I sat with those thoughts, the more I realized. They weren't mine to carry. They were his choices, his lies, his mess. And I'm done cleaning up after people who leave their damage behind like it's my responsibility. I started going for walks again. Not to think, but to stop thinking, to breathe, to notice things. There's this little cafe down the street that I used to pass all the time. I never went in because Daniel didn't like their coffee. Last week I walked in for the first time. I sat by the window, ordered something sweet, and stayed for an hour doing absolutely nothing. It felt like freedom. Not dramatic, not movie scene liberation, just quiet freedom, and that's enough. I still get moments, waves of hurt that come out of nowhere, like when I hear someone laugh the way he used to, or when I see couples in airports, or when I look at a photo from a time when I believed everything was real. But I don't run from it anymore. I let it come, and I let it go. There's power in that. I don't know what's next for me. I'm not rushing into anything. I'm not downloading dating apps or trying to prove I've moved on. What I want now is something slower, something honest, even if it's just a better relationship with myself. And if you've listened this far, if you've ever gone through something like this, I just want to say this. It's not your fault. Being lied to doesn't mean you were weak. Loving someone who didn't deserve you doesn't make you foolish. It makes you human, and you deserve better. We all do. I don't know where Daniel is now, and honestly, I don't care. I don't need closure from him, because I gave it to myself. The door closed. He walked away, and for the first time, I didn't run after him. I stayed still, and I chose me.